no idea if you guys will be able to hear any of this. This bike is loud. It's loud. It's real loud because it's a Harley. It's an 81 Sportster XLH 1000. It's not the fastest bike, and all the Harley guys in the world will always be like, dude, you know, you gotta upgrade to a bigger bike, man. And I'm just like, why would you want anything bigger? I'm trying to get lighter bikes here. I don't need heavier bikes. And it's not like this thing isn't fast. It's not too shabby for an old girl. And it sounds good. Let's do a little tunnel blasting, eh? There's nothing quite like that sound and feeling. Let's put it that way. It's intoxicating. It never gets old. That's why I love riding this bike more than any sport bike that I've ever been on. This is a fun bike to ride. It's like that cheap muscle car. It's got some get up, you know. It's not gonna do like some 11 seconds, but it's quick. And it makes you grin. And frankly, that's the most important thing when you're on a bike. Is that you're smiling. The biggest possible smile. Honestly, I'd probably get into more trouble on this bike if I really if I wasn't careful than on my crotch rocket. Top speed of this bike says 80. Good luck if you can do 80 without rattling all the bolts in your limbs off. Crotch rocket, my crotch rocket, top speed of 145. And I always end up going way quicker on this thing because the power is just there. And it's something that I'm comfortable with. I grew up riding bikes that sit this way. You know, this is the fashion that they sit in. Not so high up like the crotch rocket, so I'm comfortable with this. It reminds me of riding a dirt bike. I can throw it around, I just melt into the bike, as my dad likes to say. And you know, that's definitely the case. I'm one with the motorcycle. Let's go this way. So I'm really comfortable on this thing. I can throw my weight around and I'm not worried about anything for that matter. You know, I just know I can do whatever I need to do in any given situation. What I need to do is turn the reserve on. I need to go to a gas station is what I really need to do. Keep forgetting I gotta go get gas for this thing. Anyways, this bike actually is very special. Because of the amount of work that myself, my dad, and my brother have put into it. My dad actually bought this bike after he retired to replace an old bike that he had when he was a kid. He used to have a Sportster. It was a little bit older than this, and it had a lot of work done to it by somebody who knew a lot about bikes, a guy who rode, you know, and stuff like the Paris-Dakar back in the day. And he traded it, and he regrets it to this day, and that's a different story that I'm not going to tell, but he bought this bike to replace that without actually hearing it run because he was just so giddy about getting a bike again. And it ended up needing a bit of work. I mean, we put work into it. We had it running good. People on scooters wearing tank tops, they don't value their skin. And we ended up putting a lot of work into it. It ended up having a new top end that was rebuilt by a guy who's actually an ex-Hells Angel. I'm not going to say his name, but really wonderful dude. Probably one of the nicest guys I've ever met. Taught me a lot about bikes. Just in the brief time that I knew him and about working on Harleys. And he was always really ecstatic when my brother and I showed up to his shop. Because we were always willing to work on our bikes. We were always willing to figure out how to do things ourselves where he was getting a lot of older guys who would just leave the bike there, and I want it done by this day. So we learned a lot about this bike specifically, and we ended up doing a lot of work to the transmission and the clutch basket, and I put an easy clutch in, and lots of stuff for my dad for his hands for his arthritis. So this bike's really special to us. So that's why it's never going anywhere. Pure joy. Pure joy. Hey-o. This guy's just putting around on his scooter, enjoying the summer day, I guess. Also, Betty Boop. My dad likes Betty Boop, so that's what's on the gas tank. This is pretty much the bike my brother drives, and this year is the first year that we've actually got it running 100%. We sorted all the problems out, and it's good to go. And I've been riding it quite a bit. And the only thing is the inspection's coming up. I'll get that taken care of. It's got brand new tires, brand new 70 weight oil. It's old iron heads like the thick stuff. And it just runs like a baby now. I mean, confident to take this thing and go for rides. It is air cooled, so you know it's still a Harley. And when it gets hot, it's gonna get hot, which is why you wear proper clothing on this thing unless you want your thighs and pieces of your body that you really don't want burned. Let's put it that way. I'm just hanging around my neighborhood. You guys are going to see this on Sunday, which is actually Mother's Day. But it is actually Tuesday. Actually, it's Thursday. Sorry. Wow. Talk about not knowing what day it is. Yeah, it's actually Thursday. And it's really nice out, so I figured I'd get out and record this now because I knew I wasn't going to have time on Sunday. And just talk about nothing but motorcycles, an actual motovlog. I guess the last thing I have to talk about is my bike, which you guys may have saw that video last week. Moments after I finished that vlog, had that big discussion talking about, you know, being prepared, my bike breaks down. This was a problem I had last year with it actually, that I thought was gone and done with when I replaced the battery, but it turns out it's not. I need a stator, possibly one other part. So, I mean, the bike's pretty much down, you know, it's not something I'm willing to spend the money on right now. So I'm going to be riding this a lot, which, you know, it's fine. It's the family bike. Actually, let's turn. Oh, almost hit a lights. Lights, it's a beautiful day. Too nice to be sitting at lights, red lights. So that bike is, once again, in need of repair. At least I know what it is this time. Like, it's done now. I know, troubleshooted everything, but it was a hassle. I broke down, actually down that road we were just coming down, that area over there. And we had to load it in the back of the truck. Luckily, there's a driving range nearby, so we threw it in the back of the truck, got it in there, and it was like, whatever. Whatever. That's how I feel when I have to deal with breakdowns. And the funny thing is, you'd expect the Harley to be the bike that's breaking down all the time. But this year, it is the more efficient bike. It's the more reliable vehicle. Oh, and it's funny because, I mean, without a doubt, in my lifetime, I will own a lot of motorcycles. I'll probably own very few cars. I'll buy reliable cars and that'll be the end of it. But in terms of motorcycles, I'm always going to be driving one. I'm always going to be owning something different. I like everything. You know, a lot of people get fixated on one type of bike, but I mean, if you can afford it, and you know, bikes aren't that expensive really. As long as you know how to work on them, you can get a lot of good deals. That's really the big thing, is being able to do your own maintenance. Finally tearing up this bridge. So, you know, I definitely plan on owning a lot of bikes, but when you talk about Harleys, I have really there's no personal appeal for me when you look at some of the newer bikes. At least that's what I always thought. And then yesterday I'm looking at the Harley website, looking at what bikes they have, and they have this bike. It's a Sportster model. It's called the 48. It's actually spelled out. And it has the two same size tires. Got the fat tire in the front, fat tire in the back, and the thing is gorgeous. It is absolutely stunning. It's 1200cc, and it looks like an old hardtail, and I love that. I love that old look. I'm a huge fan of that. because that's the bike that you get out on and you take corners with your foot down, and you wear old leathers and slick back your hair and pretend you're a greaser. And I love to role play. I love that. There's just something about that. So I always just, people are so into just get the biggest bike out there. Even everything, every single thing out there. Unless you're a guy on a supermoto or an enduro, and then you're one of those few people who understands the importance of lightness, fuel economy, range, off-road capability. But you see all these guys, and they just want bigger bikes. They want bigger crotch rockets, they want bigger Harleys, and I'm just like, why? I don't get it. Especially when it ends up being this ugly, boring-looking thing. I actually really like this Sportster. There's something about it. It has quite nice styling. We're gonna turn around, actually. I want to avoid the main road. Actually, what if I take that? We'll take the path you guys have seen me take many a time before. Actually, you know what? Look at him turning around. So at the end of the day, hopefully you guys can hear me over this bike. It is loud. I mean, it's got baffles in it, but it's a Harley. It's not really like my sport bike, especially when you look at how many RPM you're riding at, pretty much all the time. I got to dump this thing into third gear and then chug it just to keep the noise down, but it shouldn't be too bad. The mic is right in front of my face, so at least you'll hear my voice over it all. I just wanted to get out though and actually take a quick cruise on this thing. Just got done doing a bunch of YouTube stuff. You guys will have saw the Wolfenstein video I did for the New Blood. The Old Blood, sorry. I keep calling it the New Blood. The New Order, the New Blood, the Old Blood. I'm a really big fan of that game, so I just needed to get out and cruise and relieve some stress. Just relax. Relax before the weekend. That weird guy who's always working the weekend. That's really it. If you guys got any questions for me, as always, feel free to throw them down in the comment section below. And we'll probably be doing a lot more rides on this bike, believe it or not. This is a really fun bike to go ride with. You can get down real low, scrape the pegs, put your foot down. It's just fun. I'm just so comfortable on it. And that's the biggest thing about any bike is if you're not comfortable, you're not going to have fun. You're going to be stressed. You're going to be stressed about so many things, at least if you have the right mindset. If you're carefree on a bike that you're not comfortable with, there's something wrong with you. Because you need to, and I'm not just talking about being comfortable just riding it in a straight line. I'm talking about knowing that if the time comes and you have to make a really quick maneuver off the road, into the grass, into a ditch, that you can do it while causing as little damage to yourself as possible, if any damage at all. That's what being comfortable on a bike is about. And then of course the next step is just riding it, getting out, knowing how far you can lean the thing before you start clipping bits and pieces of the bike that are rigid, before the tire starts slipping, all those sorts of problems. I'm gonna head home though. Enjoy the rest of the day. I hope you guys have a fantastic weekend. I hope you had a fantastic weekend. I hope you had a wonderful Mother's Day. Celebrate it with your mom. Get her out on a bike. Have a good one. Always love that.